Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ashton College Alumni Interview Series. My name is CJ McGilfrey, and I'm with the Marketing and Communications team. Today, I am joined by Ray Crowley, who completed our Canadian Securities Course. Ray, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me here.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your career experience and how you ended up at Ashton College?
Yeah, my background's in holistic nutrition, and I've always had an interest in economics and monetary history, which kind of led me into precious metals initially. That led me into investor relations in the resource space, and then that kind of opened my eyes to the world of securities and economics in a broader sense. And I decided to go for my Canadian Securities course, and actually, a friend of mine told me about Ashton College offering that course.
Wonderful. Yeah, you seem like you really exemplify that statistic about how nowadays people might have like 5 to 7 different jobs or careers, and you kind of jumped from industry to industry and really followed your passion, which is so exciting to see.
Yeah, there's so much in the investment world that you can do. It's such a broad industry in itself. There's something for everyone, I'm sure.
What's something in particular that you love about the investment world and the work that you get to do?
I like variety, so being able to research and learn about new trends and new investment opportunities keeps my kind of ADD mind busy.
For sure.
It's always exciting to hear about the next trend and to see what the next sort of big thing is. And there's always something cooking up.
Amazing. So what are some highlights of the Canadian Securities course when you studied at Ashton?
Yeah, it was, I don't know how many people were in the classroom, but not a ton of people in the classroom, which was nice. So the class space was at a good level. The instructor was very friendly and helpful, and he actually worked at a stock brokerage that I had been in touch with trying to get a job. So it was kind of interesting to see him there.
So once you completed the course, did you go on to get certified by the Canadian Securities Institute?
Yes. I don't think I would have done as well as I did with the CSI exams if I had not have taken the Canadian Securities course through Ashton College. It's quite a lot of studying and a lot of learning, and it really helped me to have the confidence, I think, and the ability to really pass and get that certification.
Amazing. That's such a great example of how education can really support you on the path to certification and make you feel more confident as you go into the exam. Yeah.
Definitely.
So how has your career progressed since your time at Ashton College?
Yeah, so I ended up getting my Canadian Securities course, worked for a company called Raymond James for a while, which is like a stock brokerage, wealth management firm. And then from there, I got involved with a company called Foremost Capital, dealing in private funds and private placements, small cap companies and micro caps.
Amazing. And I understand you also run your own podcast. Investment Research Radio. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so now what I mostly focus on is my podcast, Investment Research Radio, where I interview a lot of CEOs and individuals in the microcap space, and basically in the venture markets, mostly in Canada. And so, yeah, I interview companies that I like and give them a bit of a platform to speak on.
For sure. What inspired you to create the podcast and do that?
I've always been a fan of talk radio and been a fan of podcasts and radio for a long time. Even before the term podcast, I was listening to a lot of talk radio and stuff. So I think it's just always been an interest of mine. And there's another one called the Corlin Economics Report, which is an amazing economics report every day that comes out online, and they're syndicated on throughout the States. So that one, I think, helped inspire me a bit.
Wow, I love that. And you get to talk to so many different people and hear about their experiences. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, you get to connect with many different CEOs across different industries. So yeah, it brings that variety in, and it's a great experience.
Mm-hmm. And now you also run your own business, is that correct?
Yeah, I have a startup called Tunda Clap Gaming Corp. It's within the video games and streaming space and esports, and it's a startup that I started a few months ago, and pretty excited to grow it and possibly get acquired someday, or maybe even go public.
Amazing. Seems like kind of a different genre, kind of a different focus than securities and investment.
Yeah, it all sort of ties in together because through the experiences that I've had as kind of like a broker, I've been able to kind of learn more about venture capital, learn about business, and it just all sort of intertwines, interconnects together. And with that knowledge now, I can also help build a company, and to also have the connections in the industry really helps too when it comes to raising money and strategies to do corporate development with respect to either going public or getting acquired, things like that.
Amazing. Did you have any specific icons or specific mentors that inspired you to create your startup?
You know what? It just kind of came together through I guess passion for one video game that I do play, and also with my podcast, I interview a number of CEOs within the space of esports and gaming, and I just put it together, and it just sort of came together. It just sort of happened, I guess, on its own. I don't know.
Kind of the perfect marriage of your experience and your research that you've done from interviewing people.
Yeah, it sort of came together, and I want to shout out to Ben Pfefferman and Spiro and Daniel Japiasu as well. Those are three CEOs that I interviewed. Were all within that space in the last year, and they've all been very inspirational in the space.
Amazing. And I will link your podcast in the description for this video, so anyone who's watching can check that out, can check out the specific interviews you recommended. Yeah, wonderful. So big question, what advice would you offer to someone who's considering entering, financial services, maybe considering taking the Canadian Securities Course at Ashton?
Yeah, just, I guess, know yourself, like know what your strengths are and how you might fit into the industry. I think there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of different avenues that you can go, but just really knowing your strengths, and maybe even finding mentors and other people who are in the industry who can give you a little even further more insights on exactly what they do or on the industry itself. And yeah, whether you're more entrepreneurial, or you're looking for a career or for a job, or if you're just maybe even just an investor or someone that wants to learn more about economics and securities, like this would be a great course to take.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe someone thinking of doing their own startup, having their own business. Sounds like it really worked out for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's also completely relevant as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, I always like to ask everyone who I interview, whether it's faculty or alumni, we talked about podcasts, we talked about your business and career. What about books? Do you have any favorite books or online resources that you absorb, whether it's reading for pleasure or ebooks or anything for educational purposes?
There's a book that Warren Buffett wrote called Letters to Shareholders. He writes it, I think he updates it every year, but that's a really interesting book that is quite famous in regards to value investing. But
Awesome.
I've only just started reading it, but it's one that I hear that's been recommended many, many times. There's one called Reminiscences of a Stock Operator,
Okay.
and that was written many, many years ago. And that's quite an interesting book as well.
Amazing. Um, Thank you so much for sharing all of your insight. I did have one last question. I know you talked about how the course really helped prepare you in a thorough way for that exam. Do you feel as though the course impacted your confidence in the workforce, in the workplace?
Yeah, I would say it would have. Uh, just solidifying the knowledge, learning about all the content in the CSC books.
Hmm.
It would have definitely helped build more confidence to be within the space.
Amazing. Was there anything else that you wanted to share with prospective students who are considering taking the course, or just anything we haven't touched on yet?
Um, the Jeopardy pause. um,
We've heard lots of great insight, so no problem if you don't have
I'm
any
just
final
trying to
words.
think. I don't really. I wish I had something clever and funny to say, but nothing's coming up right now.
That's okay. Yeah, you mentioned looking at your strengths, and it sounds like doing a bit of soul searching, analyzing how you could fit into the workplace, looking for mentors, really listening, being curious. That's kind of what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, self-awareness is big. It's one thing that I feel has helped me, and in many ways. There's different sort of psychology tests that you can take to learn more about yourself. There's one, like there's the MBTI, Myers-Briggs personality types. Whether or not you believe in that or think it's relevant, I think there's some legitimacy to it. I enjoy it, so that's one that you can look at. And there's many different ones out there that you can kind of take and look into your own personality type.
For sure.